The massive alien ship appeared without warning, silently sliding into Earth's orbit like a shadow crossing the sun. Global radar systems barely registered its approach until it was too late to respond. For 6 hours, it hung motionless above North America, causing worldwide panic. Admiral Han Jiwu stood on the bridge of the EDF Sentinel, Earth's flagship defender, staring at the viewscreen. The alien vessel dwarfed her ship by at least 20 times. Her palms were sweaty, but her voice remained steady as she addressed her crew. Maintain position. Weapons systems ready but dormant. Let's not start humanity's first alien encounter with a mistake. The alien ship finally sent a transmission, not to world governments or the United Nations, but directly to the Unified Earth Defense Fleet. The message came through in perfect English. Representatives of the Galactic Council request immediate dialogue with Earth's Defense Authority. Within 12 hours, Admiral Jiwu found herself sitting across from beings unlike anything humanity had imagined. The Council delegation included 4 species: the tall, willowy Ardani with their luminescent skin, the squat, 6-limbed Vex, a hovering gelatinous entity called a Morphin, and their leader, a humanoid Tekkan named Ambassador Rilor. Earth has reached the threshold of interstellar capability, Rilor explained, his voice melodic yet somehow mechanical. The Council monitors developing worlds. Your recent quantum communication experiments caught our attention. Jiwu maintained her composure, though she noted how Rilor spoke slowly, as if to a child. We're honored by your presence, Ambassador. Earth has long wondered if we were alone. Far from it. The Council includes over 300 species across 12 galaxies. Rilor smiled thinly. We extend an invitation for Earth to join as an observational member. Over the next week, Earth's government scrambled to form a unified response team. Jiwu, with her calm demeanor and strategic mind, was selected as humanity's chief military liaison. As meetings progressed, she became increasingly aware of the Council's subtle condescension. During a tour of Earth's orbital defense platform, she overheard the Ardani whispering to Rilor. Their ships still use chemical propulsion for secondary systems, barely past early industrial classification. Rilor nodded. Containment Protocol 7 should suffice. Limited technology sharing, Tier 3 cultural integration. Jiwu pretended not to hear, but her jaw tightened. That evening, she reviewed Council documents they had been given about membership classifications. Earth was being considered for protected developing status, essentially a glorified reservation. The final evaluation came during the Council's inspection of Earth's fleet. The EDF had arranged their best ships in formation, 27 vessels representing the pinnacle of human engineering. Jiwu stood proud as the visitors boarded the flagship. Ambassador Rilor walked the corridors with a practiced diplomatic smile. Impressive for your development stage, he said, examining the bridge. Your species shows remarkable adaptability. The Morphin delegate rippled its translucent body, their equivalent of a dismissive gesture. Primitive shielding, no quantum navigation, reaction-based tactical systems. We've achieved considerable advances in the past decade, Jiwu replied evenly. Of course, Rilor said with the patience of someone speaking to a toddler. All species progress at their own rate. That night, after the Council representatives returned to their vessel, Earth received their formal assessment. Humanity was classified as a Tier 7 civilization, the second lowest category in Council rankings. The document outlined limited participation rights, restricted access to Council technology, and a prohibition on expanding beyond the immediate solar system without supervision. President Kang summoned Jiwu to a private meeting. They're treating us like children, the president said, tossing the document onto her desk. Yes, Madam President. They see our technology as primitive. Is it? Compared to theirs? Jiwu considered carefully. Their propulsion systems are centuries beyond ours. Their weapons and shields even further. But they're overlooking something important, which is human ingenuity. They measure advancement by how long a species has had a technology, not how creatively they use it. President Kang nodded slowly. You think we can prove them wrong? I know we can. They expect us to follow their development path, but humanity has never been predictable. With access to even their basic scientific archives, we could make leaps they won't anticipate. What do you recommend? Accept their offer of membership, Ju said, leaning forward. Play the role they expect, the grateful, humble newcomers. Meanwhile, we learn everything we can. The next day, Earth formally accepted Council membership. At the ceremony aboard the Council vessel, Ambassador Relor presented Ju with a small device, a data crystal containing permitted scientific knowledge. This will help your people understand basic Council technologies, he explained. More advanced knowledge will be shared as Earth progresses through development tiers. Ju accepted the crystal with a respectful bow. We're grateful for the Council's guidance. As the alien ship prepared to depart, Raylor approached Ju one final time. A Council liaison team will remain on Earth to assist your transition. We don't expect your species to advance beyond Tier 6 for at least a century, but we're patient. Ju smiled politely. The universe holds many surprises, Ambassador. Later, alone in her quarters aboard the Sentinel, Ju examined the data crystal. Earth's scientists were already extracting and analyzing its contents. Initial reports suggested the basic knowledge would revolutionize human technology, if applied as the Council intended. She stared out the viewport at the stars, watching the fading light of the Council ship as it accelerated away. Their condescension burned in her mind. They've studied thousands of species, she whispered to herself, but they've never met humans before. Ju made a silent promise to herself and to Earth. The Council thought they were welcoming a primitive, compliant new member. Instead, they had just met the most adaptable, resourceful species in the galaxy. They just didn't know it yet. The Admiral smiled. One day, the Council wouldn't be offering humanity scraps from their table. One day, they would be asking humans for help. And Ju intended to be there when it happened. 2 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. The planet had changed dramatically. Gleaming towers of new materials rose in major cities. Advanced medical technology had cured several human diseases. Millions watched educational programs about other species and cultures. Earth's first colony on Proxima Centauri B thrived with nearly 30,000 settlers. Admiral Han Ju stood at the window of her office in the Earth Defense Headquarters, watching ships come and go through the newly constructed orbital gate. Earth had learned quickly, adapting Council technology in ways that sometimes surprised their alien mentors. Her comm unit chimed with an urgent signal. Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from Nova Colony, her aide reported. Ju frowned. Nova Colony was Earth's second settlement, established 8 months ago on a habitable moon in the Ta Ceti system. The colony was still small, barely 5,000 people. Put it through, she ordered. The screen showed Governor Park, his face tense. Admiral, we've detected multiple ships entering our system. They're not responding to hails, and they don't match Council registry patterns. Ju felt a chill. Send me the sensor data. The information arrived seconds later. 15 ships, configuration unknown. Their energy signatures didn't match any vessels in the Council database Earth had access to. She immediately contacted the Council liaison office on Earth. The Ardeni representative, Liaison Thela, appeared on screen. Admiral Ju, how may I assist? The tall, willowy alien asked. We have unknown vessels approaching one of our colonies. They're not in your registry. Thela's luminescent skin dimmed slightly, a sign of concern. Transmitting your data to Council headquarters now. The response came 3 hours later. By then, the unknown ships had established orbit around Nova Colony's moon, and Governor Park reported landing craft descending to the surface. Ambassador Riller himself delivered the news via holographic projection. His face was grim. The vessels you've detected belong to the Krygax Empire, he explained. They are problematic. The Council has maintained containment boundaries around their territory for centuries. They're landing on our colony, Ju said sharply. What are they after? The Krivaks expand aggressively. They claim territory, then strip it of resources. Rayler's voice became formal. The Council is concerned that they've breached the containment zone. What about our people? President Kang demanded, joining the call. We recommend immediate evacuation of your colonies, Rayler replied. The Krivaks will likely claim that system, along with several others in that sector. Ju couldn't believe what she was hearing. You're suggesting we abandon thousands of our people. What about Council protection? That was part of our membership agreement. Rayler shifted uncomfortably. The situation is complex. The human sector is, forgive me, not of sufficient strategic value to justify immediate large-scale military intervention. The Council Defense Fleet is currently deployed against another threat in the Andromeda Arm. So you'll do nothing? President Kang asked incredulously. Not nothing, Rayler corrected. We propose a strategic withdrawal. Evacuate your colonies, retreat to your home system. The Council can establish a defensive perimeter around Sol within 1 standard year. 1 year? Juwoo's voice rose. And in the meantime, just surrender everything beyond Sol. It's a reasonable compromise, Rayler insisted. Your colonies are small, recently established. The colonists can be relocated. President Kang's expression hardened. Ambassador, please excuse us while we discuss this privately. Once Rayler's hologram disappeared, the president turned to Juwoo. Options. The Council won't help us, Juwoo stated flatly. They've classified this as a regional border adjustment. We're on our own. Can we evacuate? Juwoo brought up a tactical display. The Krivaks are already on the ground at Nova Colony. Reports indicate they're setting up some kind of mining operation. They've imprisoned the colonists. And Proxima. Not yet threatened, but intelligence suggests they'll move there next. Juwoo highlighted several points in space. We have 6 defense vessels in the Nova system and 12 at Proxima. The rest of the fleet is here, at Earth. President Kang studied the display. What about the modified ships? The ones the Council doesn't know about? Juwoo smiled tightly. Project Phantom. The first 5 vessels are operational, not officially part of the fleet registry. For the past year, Earth had been secretly developing ships that utilized Council technology in ways the aliens hadn't anticipated. Human engineers had taken basic shield concepts and modified them to bend light around vessels, creating partial cloaking effects. The ships weren't invisible, but they were extremely difficult to detect at range. Would they make a difference? The president asked. Possibly. We know very little about Krivak's capabilities, but our Phantom ships are faster and more maneuverable than anything the Council has seen from us. President Kang walked to the window, looking out at Earth below. The Council expects us to meekly withdraw, to abandon our people and wait behind their protection. Yes, Madam President. What do you recommend, Admiral? Juwoo straightened. We fight. We show the Krivaks and the Council that humans don't surrender what's theirs, even against an enemy we know nothing about, with technology centuries behind the galactic standard. Especially then. Juwoo's eyes gleamed. The Council has been underestimating us since first contact. Maybe the Krivaks will make the same mistake. President Kang nodded slowly. Prepare your response, Admiral. I'll address the world governments. 12 hours later, Ambassador Rayler received Earth's official reply to the Council's compromise. Juwoo delivered it personally, standing tall in her formal uniform. Earth has considered the Council's recommendation and respectfully declines. We will not abandon our colonies or our citizens. Earth Defense Forces will protect human territory with or without Council assistance. Rayler's expression showed genuine concern. Admiral, please reconsider. The Krivaks have technology nearly equal to the Council's. Your forces cannot possibly prevail. Nevertheless, we will defend what is ours. This is foolish bravery, Reeler insisted. Your species is still developing. The Council can help you rebuild after a strategic withdrawal. Jiwoo smiled slightly. Perhaps the Council should observe before making judgments about our capabilities. As she left the embassy, Jiwoo contacted Fleet Command. Deploy the Phantom Squadron to Proxima immediately. Alert all defense forces. We are now at war with the Kryvax Empire. Dr. Kim Chun-ho stood nervously in the observation deck of the Council monitoring station. Around him, representatives from 5 alien species watched the main display with expressions ranging from curiosity to outright skepticism. The Kryvax fleet had just entered the Proxima system. 15 massive warships advancing in standard formation toward the human colony. Your defense force has only 12 registered vessels in that system, Ambassador Reeler noted. I don't understand why you insisted we observe this. It will only demonstrate the futility of resistance. Chun-ho exchanged a glance with Admiral Jiwoo, who stood calmly at his side. Ambassador, we appreciate your concern, but perhaps you should watch before drawing conclusions. The main screen showed the Kryvax ships approaching the small formation of Earth vessels, which appeared to be preparing for a desperate last stand. The Kryvax will offer surrender terms first, explained the Vex representative, his 6 limbs moving restlessly. They prefer to acquire resources intact when possible. Right on cue, a communication signal registered on the display. The Kryvax commander, a reptilian being with burnished scales and elaborate facial ridges, appeared on screen. Human defenders, this system now belongs to the Kryvax Empire. Power down your vessels and prepare for boarding. Resistance will result in your destruction. Admiral Jiwoo's face appeared on the split screen. This is Admiral Han Jiwoo of Earth Defense Forces. We reject your claim to this system and will defend our colony. The Kryvax commander bared sharp teeth in what might have been amusement. Your ships are outnumbered and outclassed. You have one final chance to surrender. Jiwoo cut the communication. In the observation deck, Reeler sighed. A brave but foolish stance. The Kryvax vessels carry disruptor cannons that will tear through your shields in seconds. Chun-ho didn't respond. He was watching the tactical display, where the Earth ships had begun moving into an unusual formation, spreading out widely rather than concentrating their firepower. The Kryvax commander apparently found this puzzling too. Their ships hesitated briefly before advancing. Now, Chun-ho whispered. On the main display, something extraordinary happened. From the blackness of space, 5 new ships suddenly appeared, seemingly materializing from nowhere directly behind a Kryvax formation. The Council representatives gasped collectively. What is this? Demanded the Ardani observer. Where did those vessels come from? Chun-ho allowed himself a small smile. Phantom Fleet. Phase 1. Before the Kryvax could react, the 5 human ships opened fire, targeting engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. 3 Kryvax vessels were crippled in the first volley. The main Kryvax fleet turned to engage this new threat, but the human ships seemed to flicker and fade on sensors, becoming difficult to target. This is impossible, Reeler said, leaning forward. Your technology shouldn't be capable of cloaking. Not cloaking exactly, Chun-ho explained. We modified Council shield technology to bend light and absorb sensor pings. The ships aren't invisible, just difficult to see clearly. On screen, the battle continued. The original 12 Earth defense vessels now accelerated toward the confused Kryvax fleet, which was trying unsuccessfully to track the Phantom ships. Your vessels are so small, the Morphin representative observed, its gelatinous body pulsing with interest. By necessity, Chun-ho nodded. We couldn't match Kryvax firepower, so we prioritized speed and stealth instead. Our ships carry fewer weapons but can target with greater precision. The Council representatives watched in stunned silence as the human vessels executed a complex, coordinated attack. The Phantom ships would appear briefly, strike critical systems, then fade from sensors again. The conventional Earth vessels used this distraction to deliver their own attacks. This strategy, the Vex representative said slowly, it's unlike standard military doctrine. We call it asymmetric warfare. Junho explained. Throughout human history, when faced with a stronger opponent, we've developed unconventional approaches. We don't try to match strength with strength. On the display, the Kryvax fleet was in disarray. 7 of their 15 ships were now disabled, their weapons and propulsion systems targeted with remarkable precision. But how did you develop this technology? Rayler asked, his tone shifting from dismissive to intensely curious. The Council only provided basic shield specifications. Junho shrugged. We looked at the principles differently. Your shields are designed to stop weapons fire. We wondered if they could be modified to affect sensors and light instead. The Ardani representative's skin glowed brighter with excitement. No species has attempted this approach before. Shield technology has followed standard development patterns for millennia. Humans don't always follow standard patterns, Junho said simply. On the screen, the Kryvax commander appeared again, this time addressing Admiral Juwu with visible rage. This deception violates combat protocols. Your ships were not registered with Council authorities. Juwu's reply was calm. The Phantom Fleet is an experimental program, and as you aren't Council members yourself, you hardly have standing to invoke their protocols. The Kryvax commander snarled. This isn't over, human. The Empire will return with greater forces, and we'll be waiting, Juwu replied before ending the transmission. The remaining Kryvax ships gathered their disabled companions and retreated from the system. In the observation deck, silence reigned for several moments. Finally, Rillor turned to Junho. How many more of these phantom ships does Earth possess? That information is classified, Junho replied politely. The Council should have been informed of this technology. The Vex representative insisted. Why? Admiral Juwu asked, entering the observation deck. You classified us as a Tier 7 civilization with primitive defense capabilities. You restricted our access to advanced technology. You suggested we abandon our colonies rather than help us defend them. Rillor had the grace to look uncomfortable. The Council may have underestimated human adaptability. A common mistake, Juwu noted. One the Kryvax just made as well. Junho pulled up technical schematics on a nearby display. We're willing to share our modifications with the Council now. Our approach might help against the Kryvax in other sectors. The Council representatives crowded around the display, their expressions ranging from fascination to disbelief. The mathematics behind this is elegant, the Ardani admitted. Simple, yet revolutionary in application. Sometimes fresh eyes see new possibilities in old concepts, Junho explained. That's humanity's greatest strength. We've only just begun exploring what's possible with Council technology. As the representatives studied the schematics, Admiral Juwu stood beside Junho and spoke quietly. Phase 1 was successful. When should we tell them about Phase 2? Junho smiled. Let's save some surprises for later. We still have much to prove. The Kryvax returned 3 weeks later, just as Admiral Juwu had predicted. This time, they'd brought an armada, 42 warships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima system. Their formation spread across space like a metal net, designed to trap and destroy any resistance. On the bridge of her flagship Defiance, Admiral Juwu watched the tactical display with calm focus. Around her, the crew worked efficiently, no sign of panic despite the overwhelming odds they faced. The Kryvax commander is broadcasting, Admiral, her communications officer reported. Put him through, Juwu ordered. The reptilian face of Fleet Commander Drazak appeared on screen, his scales gleaming under harsh lights. Admiral Juwu, I've returned as promised. Your trickery won't save you this time. We've adapted our sensors to detect your phantom ships. Juwu nodded respectfully. Commander Drazak, I see you've brought friends. The full might of a Kryvax battle group, he confirmed, showing his teeth. I offer terms one final time. Evacuate your colony and surrender this system. In recognition of your earlier creativity, I will allow your people safe passage. Jiwoo appeared to consider this. That's a generous offer, Commander. Unfortunately, we must decline. Drazek's facial ridges flared in anger. Then you choose extinction. We have studied your capabilities. Your 27 ships cannot stand against our armada. 27. Jiwoo raised an eyebrow. Is that what your intelligence suggests? Doubt flickered across Drazek's face before he masked it. Prepare to be overwhelmed, human. The transmission cut off. Lieutenant Park looked up from his station. Admiral, our sensors confirm 42 enemy vessels. Their weapons are powering up. Jiwoo nodded. Signal all ships. Operation Hornet's Nest is now active. Throughout the system, hidden human vessels receive the command. Unlike traditional military doctrine, which placed defense forces in predictable formations protecting valuable assets, Jiwoo had scattered her fleet across the entire system. Small groups lurked near moons, within asteroid fields, and in the shadow of Proxima's star itself. The human response caught the Kryvax completely by surprise. Instead of facing a concentrated defensive line, their advancing armada suddenly found itself under attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Phantom ships appeared from nowhere, firing precisely before vanishing again. Conventional vessels executed slingshot maneuvers around moons and planets, achieving speeds that made them nearly impossible to target. On the Defiance, Jiwoo directed the battle with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. Task Force Echo. Execute microjump to coordinates Theta 6. Target the third vessel in their command group. The microjumps were perhaps humanity's most audacious innovation. By making extremely short, calculated faster-than-light jumps, human ships could essentially teleport across small distances in the battlefield. The jumps were incredibly risky. A miscalculation of even a fraction of a percent could result in collision with another object or ship. The Council considers these maneuvers suicidal, Lieutenant Park commented as they watched 3 human vessels vanish and reappear directly behind a Kryvax heavy cruiser. The Council lacks imagination, Jiwoo replied, and proper incentive. Desperation breeds innovation. The Kryvax tried to adapt, rearranging their formation to create a defensive sphere, but the human attacks came too quickly from too many directions. Their superior firepower meant nothing when they couldn't bring their weapons to bear on targets that refused to stay still. Commander Drazek's frustrated voice broke through on an open channel. Stand and fight properly, humans. These tactics are dishonorable. Jiwoo didn't bother responding. Instead, she ordered her most daring move yet. All Phantom ships, execute Pattern Sunrise. Conventional vessels, prepare for Operation Anvil. Across the battlefield, the Phantom ships suddenly coordinated their attacks, revealing themselves simultaneously to strike at the engines of the largest Kryvax vessels. As the enemy turned to engage these targets, Jiwoo gave the final command. Defiance and Strike Group, execute microjump directly to the Kryvax command ship. Her officers exchanged nervous glances. Jumping so close to an enemy vessel was extraordinarily dangerous. Coordinates locked. The navigation officer confirmed. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The stars blurred momentarily, and then the massive bulk of the Kryvax flagship filled their view screen. The Defiance had appeared less than 500 meters from the enemy command vessel, well inside its defensive perimeter. All weapons target their bridge and engine control systems. Jiwoo ordered calmly. Fire. The Defiance's weapons lashed out, joined by the 5 ships that had jumped with her. The precision strike crippled the Kryvax flagship before it could respond. As this was happening, a Council observation vessel finally arrived at the edge of the system. Ambassador Rayler and a team of military experts had come expecting to document the fall of humanity's colony. Instead, their sensors revealed a battle already turning decisively in humanity's favor. Impossible, the Tekken naval commander whispered, watching the tactical display. The human ships are executing maneuvers our simulators classify as non-survivable. Yet they survive. Riller noted, his earlier condescension replaced by genuine amazement. On screen, they watched as the Kryvax formation disintegrated. With their command ship disabled and nearly a third of their fleet crippled, the remaining vessels began a disorganized retreat. Admiral Juwu's voice came through clearly on the command channel. "Commander Drazek, your flagship is disabled, and your forces are in retreat. Do you wish to discuss terms now?" There was a long pause before the Kryvax commander responded, his voice tight with rage and disbelief. "This defeat is unexpected. What are your terms, human?" "Complete withdrawal from all systems claimed by Earth, return of any human prisoners, and formal recognition that attacking our territory again will result in consequences beyond this system." The implied threat was clear. If humans could defend one system so effectively, what might they do if truly provoked? Drazek agreed to the terms. As the Kryvax gathered their damaged ships and prepared to leave, the Council observation vessel approached the Defiance. "Admiral Juwu," Ambassador Reller's voice held newfound respect. "The Council requests permission to send a delegation to your vessel." Juwu smiled slightly. "Permission granted, Ambassador. We have much to discuss about humanity's place in the Galactic Council." As the Council representatives boarded her ship, Juwu stood tall in her uniform, no longer the commander of a primitive fleet, but the architect of a victory that would rewrite galactic military doctrine. In the vast, echoing chamber of the Galactic Council, tension hung thick in the air. Screens flickered with recorded footage of the recent battle, showing humanity's unexpected prowess against a seemingly insurmountable threat. Delegates from countless alien species leaned forward, their previous dismissive attitudes now replaced by a mix of respect and urgent curiosity. Admiral Juwu stood tall, her uniform crisp and her demeanor calm. Years of preparation, countless sleepless nights, and the sacrifices of her team had led to this moment. Behind her, Dr. Kim watched with a quiet smile, understanding the weight of their shared journey. The council members whispered among themselves. Species that had once laughed at human capabilities now sent urgent messages, requesting defense partnerships and technology exchanges. The battlefield recording played again, human ships moving with precision, technology that seemed to bend the very rules of space warfare. When Admiral Juwu spoke to the military committee, her words were measured but sharp. "We didn't develop these capabilities to impress anyone," she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "We did this to survive. Perhaps it's time to judge a species by their ability to adapt and overcome, rather than by their past." The council members exchanged glances. The vote was unanimous. Earth's military status would be completely reclassified. Humans would now take a leadership role in a joint defense initiative, a remarkable shift from their previous marginalized position. As Juwu walked out of the chamber, Dr. Kim met her eyes. Their silent communication spoke volumes. This was not an end, but a beginning. Humanity had proven itself, not through boasting or aggression, but through pure, strategic survival. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. What started as a fight for survival had become a turning point in intergalactic relations, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, new possibilities were waiting to be explored.